enjoy the show.
One of the first podcasts, it was Matt and Kat show on Perjangers and Wallhangers, which led into this, which is the Tales of the Hunted podcast I do with Frank. And we try to highlight different people in the indie content community that have something to say. They have a product, they have something they put their blood, sweat, and tears into, and nobody has a platform for indie like this, to where we can talk to comic artists, we can talk to comic writers, we can talk to directors, actors, music and film, and any kind of nerds that you can imagine, you will find on here, because the Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network has been putting out the Tales of the Hunt podcast for over a year now that I've been doing with Frank. And you may be asking the same thing that everybody does, is what is a Perjanger? A Perjanger is a person or group who love or are infatuated with nerd and geek culture. And the beauty of that is that you could be a nerd or geek about anything. So when asking what is a Perjanger, you can also answer 42. So my whole little spiel, I like to get everybody real loose in this, because it's not like a normal interview. This is just a conversation, because Jason has brought all of us here together for his amazing film that I'm calling it amazing, because I've watched it twice. I loved all of you in the film, to where, and I saw your IMDb. I had to pull up the film again. We're like, no, she's not. No, she's not. Now I see it with the dark hair, with the blonde hair. It's like you're a completely different person. I don't know what it is. It's just hair, simple hair color can do that with and.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it's just simple. I looked up your IMDb, and it was just like you had blonde hair. I was like, this is the same person.
I don't know who you looked at.
I looked up your name, and it was somebody with blonde hair, and I was like, this is not the same person. So I also wanted to get that out of the way, and I was like, can't be.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if you did want to do blonde
hair,
I have
had blonde hair in the past, though.
Rock blonde hair if you want, I mean, but I really loved.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. There's another Anna Hardwick on IMDb.
How dare she?
Somebody else.
Yes, with blonde hair. See?
Yeah.
See? I'm trying to do my goddamn research, and it bites me in the ass as always.
Dare she?
We'll fight her over.
I'm glad it wasn't just me, because I was really looking at that like, damn, their makeup and hair department was really great. Holy crap.
That's funny.
I've had a little work done, since then.
But I really did I liked everybody in here. I had James Stokes, and this is where I actually heard of Forrest Through the Trees, is James Stokes. He was part of the Great Media Comic-Con. Frank and I met him. Great guy. Had to have him on the podcast, and he was like, oh.
He's okay. I tell he watches this.
There's a little bit of a sibling rivalry type thing with James and Olivia.
I get it, because both of you killed those roles. I mean, all of you did, but we'll start off with you, Olivia. I won't even talk about James, because I already had a whole podcast.
Thank you. That's really all I wanted is not here. Whatever.
But your role in the film was very much like, oh, she's a rock. She's keeping shit together. Get in line, James. Shape up. And he's just like, get off my back. Scene. I really love that. And then by the time you get into the second and third act of the movie, I'm like, I don't even know if I know you anymore.
My husband says the same thing. It's weird. I just got some up and down, It's fine. No, it was a really fun role to play. How much, okay, so is this is non-spoiler, or what are we doing here?
You could do both, and I can edit out what you don't want.
Spill the beans. Yeah.
We're an open podcast. Whatever you guys want to relieve your mind of, you can.
Okay. Well, okay, I won't until you guys do. I'm not going to be the one. But I think just this character was really, really fun to play. I felt like I did get to kind of just ease into the journey that I had with Chloe. I did focus on making sure I was her emotional rock, as you said. I really wanted to focus on making sure she worked through that journey with finding her mom. And I truly did want that to happen. Um, and then, the emotions got involved, and here we are. I don't know how much I can say, but I just want to say that. Yeah, it really was emotion based.
I'd love for us to keep it spoiler free if possible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I would like that as well, because I don't want to step on any toes,
away from
because
it being
it's such an amazing film. I do want it to be spoiler free, but even just on an introduction for your character, being the Rock in this, and just like, I mean, Scott, it's hard not even to mention your character with even getting into the plot. You know what I mean? You do it right, and from the moment we see you on film, I'm like, something's off. I gotta watch this guy.
That's just the look I tried to bring.
Prepping your whole life for it, and you donked it. You donked it. And Anna, what I really liked about your character is that the emotion you suddenly get in the beginning. It's like you become a completely different person just at one moment in the film, and it's automatically fight or flight, and you're like, getting out of here. And you just, it plays into a role, a common trope, but by the end of the film, you say, oh God, I was so wrong about your character. And you see just the mother in your character portrayed expertly. I really do. I like everybody's characters in this, but yours was a little bit more, it wasn't as, like, you didn't have the monologues that Scott did, but
right.
you still had an impact in the film, which drove the motivation of two characters to keep going through. You were that
not just two characters,
mystery.
But
yeah,
they were all dealing with the consequences of her actions.
Yes, yes. I said to Jason, Kathy is the reason for the season.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. It was definitely I don't know if how much you know about me, but I haven't been doing this very long. And this character came kind of easy because I am a mother, but just enjoying the story as well. The audition really felt effortless for me, and so my task, was obviously wanting to do the best job possible, but really bringing that emotion so that it felt genuine and not, forced or just expected. So.
Well, I like that you mentioned how this is this your first film that you've done?
Yes, it is my first big project, period. I've done about 5 local, here in Oklahoma. I've done about 5 local short films, but this really truly for me was just, I tell Jason all the time, I'm so humbled and thankful for the opportunity, but it was so exciting. And I'm so thankful and grateful to get to be a part of it with these awesome people. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a big deal out of the gate for me. And I felt a lot of pressure and wanted to make sure, I did the best I could and, deliver a really good performance. And so I'm nervous to hear what other people think, but also excited.
Oh, I know. I mean, that kind of feeling to where you put your all and your passion into it, and you're just kind of like that kid on Christmas morning, like, all right, well, is it going to be that present I wanted? Or, maybe, all right, even if it's not, I'll just act, oh my God, it's so great, I'm going to use it. And then you just put it in the corner. Maybe it's something like that. But putting your all into a passion, it shows in the acting, because I'm doing my own movie. But I'm looking for that kind of passion that each of you have put into your characters, even in my own casting, because you're taking the words that, Jason and his co-writer have made in this script, and you're bringing it to life. The one thing I really love to put out on anything that you do creative, you are magicians, because you're creating something that was not there. It physically did not exist until you put your passion and work ethic and will into it to make it into fruition. So being creative, whether you're an artist like Frank or an actor or director or writer like everyone in this room is, putting out that passion and that actual effort is magic. and putting it on film and accurately depicting it out there to where people can enjoy the experience. That, you know, a lot of times you're having fun, just playing pretend, and you're just excited to be there and be in the moment and be part of something. So that enthusiasm also shows through, because the cast enthusiasm on the film and the script bleeds through onto the film. And I think all of you did that well.
That was the great thing about the script. The way that Jason and Charlie Brady wrote these characters, I know, especially for me, especially first time I read it, I heard this little voice in my head that was how I thought Julian should talk. And I couldn't get rid of it. So once I centered in on that, every aspect of the character just fell into place, and it was so easy. It wasn't something you had to strive for, because they had written the character so well. And plot wise, not to give any, spoilers away, but that was a wonderful thing about every single character in the script was not just one, two, or three, but every single character has a secret.
Mm-hmm. See, this is also a film that I would see not as what would people say, like I've seen in some reviews of yours, Jason, is it's not a classic horror, like people would say, slasher, kill them and dice them and slice them horror film. It's a suspenseful horror film. It is so many different kinds of film as well as horror, because when you're watching this movie, you are on the edge of your seat. You don't see these twists and turns coming when you're watching the movie. And by the time you get to the end and you get to the mid-credit scene, like I was talking to Frank about, and I was like, oh my God, this wrapped everything up. This is beautiful. You now have a world. What is she going to do now? Are you going to go split where it's like she's battling the demon and angel in her, and you have these two split personalities coming out? You could do anything with this character because she survives. A lot of different directions, yeah. Anything you want to do. This is like, not just creating a single film experience, which is obviously it is its own thing of this was just a brilliant film I wanted to make, but leaving it open like, you guys want more? We got more over here. We can have backstory with Julian in there, and, he incepted something else for another cult, and bam, you have so much ground here, fertile ground in future films, I would say, for the future. But one thing I did want to get to is, Scott, you, like Anna, are not you haven't really done a lot of film before. You were, it says you're an actor, singer, playwright, with degrees in English, speech, drama from the University of Arkansas. Throughout college, performing in the summer productions and various theme parks. After graduation, continue on to little theater groups and diner theaters. So you've done acting, just not on this kind of scale. How did that feel, coming into a production like this from having, I would say, more of a classical background?
It's actually my first film. I'd never been in front of a camera before. Everything I've ever done has been on stage. Okay. However, since I was first able to talk, if you were to ask me when I was 4 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, a movie star. I spent my whole life acting. I had just never auditioned for a film and I had no idea how to do it. And this one was a fluke. I had just closed a play, gone to audition for the next play, and I ran into an actor who told me about this audition. And he said, you should try out. And I told him off the bat, I said, I've never auditioned for a movie. I have no idea how to do it. And he goes, well, it's all done online. And he goes, they're advertising it on Facebook, so just pull up the site. So that's what I did. That's how I landed here.
That's awesome.
So it was a little intimidating at first when you get there and you suddenly see the lights, you see the cameras, the mics and everything. But it was wonderful. It's everything I ever wanted it to be.
That's awesome. So it's almost like
Scott,
coming full
you are
circle.
so incredible. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say I know he's going to do so much more than just this film because he is a star. And I remember Jason sending me his audition video, and immediately I was like, that is Julie. And there were other great actors that had auditioned, but like seeing him, it didn't matter about maybe you didn't have a backdrop, whatever. Like it was clear that you hadn't done it before, but your talent outshined everything. And it was just like there was no other person that could have been him except for you. And I just like, and I know that you're going to
Oh.
find more roles like that. Like you're just so incredible.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And I hope if I do, I hope I'm lucky enough to be able to work with people like you guys because you seem like family to me. After, meeting you, talking to you for 5 or 10 minutes, I feel like I've known you forever. And it was just a wonderful experience.
I'm going to cry.
So thank you very much.
Be ready, Scott. I think this is going to be big for you.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you really killed this movie.
I said it from the beginning. Like the marketing campaign is Julian.
I love that.
Julian's going to sell the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
That
the first
one
moment.
still shot with the backdrop.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the movie right there.
So I can just get people dressing like me next Halloween.
Exactly. I mean, that's the goal, right?
That's how you know you made it.
You do have a silhouette and a look, so it is very Halloween friendly too.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. Get out your butcher knives now.
I mean, I don't even feel like I should just say anything outside of you are the character Julian, because everything is just so beautiful when you watch your character unveil everything he has planned throughout the movie and everything that all your characters have throughout the movie. It's like a constant unveiling throughout the film, which speaks to the amazing script, but it also speaks to the acting as well, because it doesn't feel phoned in. It feels like everybody is giving their all in that picture. I said I was literally about a year ago, I was talking to another director in Jeddah, Anthony, who did Supreme Beings and Creatures of Necessity. And he told me that one of the key factors, especially in indie filmmaking, is your cast. Because that cast member that is, no, I need to do that another take. I can do it better. I can, the person who is just excited to be there because of the opportunity that this implies is, I think it's everyone's, childhood dream to become an actor, a movie star, to go there, I mean, I'm actually getting the opportunity to direct my own movie next year. And I never thought it would actually be possible or it's able to happen. So I can get that excitement of like, oh my God, this is really happening. And now you guys are on the other side of that, to where I thought this is the perfect film to talk about on Tales of the Hunted, especially before the end of the year. This podcast is going to be the one last Tales of the Hunted for 2024. And it's ending off on you guys because I want to give some good juju vibes for next year, because I'm going into production in February. And, just being able to take an idea, Jason, that you have on paper and to have so many amazing supporting people behind you, helping you make this dream come alive, is one of the most, even in that, now that I'm just in pre-production, but it's one of the most fulfilling feelings that I've had, is somebody believing in your idea that, no, we're going to make this amazing. And you have all these people behind you saying how much fun they had, how amazing your script was, and how amazing the film is. So I'd say this is 100% win for you, even before you exit the gates, because just seeing the reviews from all the other podcasters and everything, I really think, and I think one of the reviews that I read was, this is Jason Pitt's best movie yet.
Yeah, it's incredible. I would agree with that. It's definitely, I think, the best film that we've done. And it's the Forest Through the Trees is a culmination of like 4.5 to 5 years of just doing short films. growing our team, our film family with every single film getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think we had like casting crew on this one was close to 60 people.
Well,
And
you also,
every one of them was super passionate, super positive, and like you can see it in the product of the film. And the like you were saying before, man, the cast from top to bottom, uh, they were all so invested and so passionate. And I'm a little biased because it's my film, but I watch a lot of indie horror films, a lot. I watch a lot of them, and I think that the overall acting in this ensemble is probably in the top 3 indie horror films that I've ever seen.
it is, I mean, especially, I've seen some, and I've had some, you know, screeners and stuff that I've seen from indie horrors. And, you know, I mean, especially you look on Trauma, there's a lot of people putting out horror. There's a lot of people putting out content. But when you put content out right and you put the proper thought into the process, that's what really makes it shine.
I want to share a little bit of a development on Julian's character that you may or may not have caught on to. But when I was first writing the script, I really wanted to use some familiar imagery to the horror community, but still make it like different. When I wrote Julian's character, I based him off like his look and everything off of Reverend Kane from Poltergeist 2.
Okay.
One of the most creepy characters in horror history.
Yeah.
Still people's nightmares.
Yeah.
And when we put out the casting call, I did not think that we were going to get somebody so close to that. And then Scott's audition came in, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's him!"
But wait, hold my beer.
And,
Yeah.
the
All right.
actor that played Reverend Kane, his name is Julian. His first name Julian Beck, and so I named the character Julian in his kind of honor.
That's awesome. I mean, especially Julian was a very in-depth character, but when you get into the third act and you add in Kathy into the mix, it's just like a cascade of emotions. Because I'm sorry, but I will talk about James. But I thought that was one of the best performances that I've seen him done. The range that man pulled in this movie was very impressive. I mean, if there's anybody who's going to knock Julian off the best actor platform for this movie, it's going to be James. It's up to him and James.
That's right.
I just, the range of his character and his whole story in it, you know, it's moving. I'm not even going to lie to you. Even with all the people who are going to be watching this, I welled up. I welled up. I was crying at some points of this movie. I was. Oh, don't look at me like that, Frank.
Mission accomplished.
Of course I did.
Love it.
Don't look at me like that, man. Yeah, I really like this movie, and I think that everybody should really just go to whatever screenings you have. Obviously, you're going to be pushing this movie like crazy, and I highly recommend everybody to go out there and see Forrest Through the Trees, see what we're talking about, see how amazing all these actors have put their all in, blood, sweat, and tears. Probably not blood. Hopefully not real blood.
Not just the actors are top notch, but it's not just them. Like it's the cinematography, the sound design, the editing,
Yes.
the visual effects. Like we had, like I don't know if you guys could tell from the film. When I watch it back, I can't. But Amy Sullivan's character Chloe, she has heterochromia, which we can talk about. That's not really a spoiler. That's out there. But our visual effects artist, Chuck Meir, had to color her right eye brown through the entire film. And I don't know if you guys know much about visual effects, but doing that frame by frame with every shot that she's in is very time consuming and very tedious.
Dude, that was a question I had. And I was like, did they do contacts? It had to be visual effects. And I was like, oh my God, visual effects? That I would not sign up for. You know, I've been editing for like a decade, and now I'm like,
yeah. So this entire team is just
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful.
It really speaks to having a good crew and cast, having the crew behind you to make everything happen. I saw your behind the scenes pictures on your Facebook and all that, and it just, like I'm saying, it's such a good, like, uplifting feeling for me going into my new venture next year, knowing that, like, nah, man, if I have a good cast and crew behind me, there's possibility that I may
Absolutely.
be able to get up there like you guys and really put, as long as everybody puts their all into it, it doesn't matter how, anybody critically receives it. As long as you are happy with what you did, that's all that matters. Because, don't look at the negative comments. Actually, don't look at the comments on social media at all. They're, ask your
Yeah.
mother. Ask your mother for an honest review. Mom, watch the movie. How did I do? It's about as honest as you're going to get. I mean, you don't have to go to somebody in, like, Hoboken to tell you, like, you were doing something wrong. Your mom will tell
I tell my son all the time.
you. See? Mom knows best. So I really love that you guys took the time out here to do the podcast today, because I wanted one of the key things that my business partner Chris and I built this company off of is building each other up. Because when we build each other up, we're all only going to get better. Highlighting everybody's efforts on how they are being themselves. And, a lot of people will get in their daily rut and they won't have the courage to do something like you guys have done. They will find any excuse necessary to keep them in the rut. But you guys are going out there and you're doing things that nobody else are doing. And I think somebody should be praising you for it and letting everyone know why they should metaphorically hunt you.
Thank you so much.
Metaphorically
Yes,
is the
thank you.
keyword. Keyword.
Yeah, so like we're it happened with music already, where just like the labels, like the independent artists, like turned the industry on its head. And I think we're at the beginning stages of that happening with film now. And it's going to take people like you and podcasts and to get the word out, to separate the cream from the crop, because the market is so saturated. But when there's podcasts and shows like you guys taking the time to watch all these things and getting the word out there of what is actually worth people's time and what isn't, that's going to be the key to because everyone is making their own films, and with Tubi there's so much out there, but you
look at
guys are
Tubi,
so
Trauma
important
Now,
in
there's
what's
a bunch of
coming.
And you look at Tubi, Trauma Now, there's a bunch of them. But even if you put it out on those platforms, I still think there is a platform for theatrical release.
I agree.
I think that it's been shaken after 2020, especially with the availability of streaming services on the internet. It is very much shaken because you can just have something now. Why do I have to go out there? I can have it now. Or, like I have infamously said on my own podcast network, why would I go out to see something Marvel? I pay for Disney. The indie market offers something that the major markets aren't. And they're going places and they're talking about stories that aren't regurgitated. You're not going to see the next Captain America. You're not going to see Friday the 13th part whatever. You're going to see Forest Through the Trees. And this is an independent experience that you're not going to see how the end's coming. You're going to keep guessing. It's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. That's the thing that film needs. We need good films. That's one of the things that, Disney and Marvel are trying to desperately walk back on and say, hey, maybe it isn't about quantity. Maybe it's about quality. Meanwhile, certain indie filmmakers like yourself, Jason, have said, no, it is about quality. You look at the product. You don't just put out a lot of crap. You focus on what you're putting out.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you're right, that a lot of people are going to be looking at the indie market, especially now for horror or whatever, because they're putting out the content. They're getting actors from different movies and different things involved in everything. So especially when, one of the things when I started talking about doing my movie around here in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, people started saying, oh, you're bringing Hollywood to Pennsylvania. There's that feeling when you're doing a film. Oh, you're bringing Hollywood here? Sure. Why not? But it's that passion that you're doing and that you're portraying that is making people involved in that. Like, oh man, we had a movie film over here. Everybody's excited whenever you hear like there's a movie filming or a TV show filming. Like, oh no, I was over there, I was off set, but I saw them filming that. They love to be involved.
That's right.
I got out of a speeding ticket one time because the cop was asking where I was coming from, and I was like, I'm just coming from a movie set. And he got super excited. He's like, "Oh, really? Well, take your time." Just let me go.
Hey, we're looking for an extra. You want to be in? Pop a cloak on. Boom.
Oh, man,
Easy
that's
out of a
hilarious. That's
ticket
great.
right there. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna write that one down for next time. Just came from a set.
I'm telling you, just play into it. Why not? It's the best way. Well, not the best way. I mean, I have a couple other ways, but they're nowhere near as classy as that. So we'll leave that alone. But I really loved everybody coming in here, and obviously I will be talking to some of you because I want to see if I can get you over to the Northeast. Still casting a couple roles, so it may be a little selfish on my part as well as highlighting your movie because I want to hire you. But Jason, everyone is always welcome. Frank, you too. You're always welcome on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Anytime you guys are on a project that you're working on, just message me, let me know. We'd be more than willing to have you guys back on. You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too, Frank.
All right,
Nice.
you guys.
And
You guys are
I always like to end off this podcast the same way every single time, and that's that we love you, we miss you, and we want to see you next time. Until then, game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Play on Walljangers.
I love the energy.
A little bit raspy because I'm getting over being sick, so I'm usually a lot more crisp.
Yeah.
I'll just dub over the voice later. But thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us on, man. I appreciate it.
Man, it is my pleasure. It is, I loved your movie. It was fantastic. I was actually just finishing up my second run through of it
Nice.
before the podcast here because it was nonstop action all the way through. It was no character left unturned. Every character had something to do with the overall plot. And that's what I really loved about it. Speaking of one of the characters I loved, Scott.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you see me?
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Can you see me?
I can't see you either. There should
I don't know why.
be
Oh, here we go.
the little, there you go.
There you are, Scott.
I don't know why mine's not showing.
There should be a button that says show video in the
Mhm.
bottom left.
There's the little arrow, but you got to click the actual video button.
I'm not see- Says my microphone's unmuted.
Yep. And then next to that should be the video button from the audio.
You would think, right? This happens every
everybody's-
time.
yeah. I get it.
Technical issues. So all I see is like but if I click on the little person, I can see myself. Okay, I'm gonna go out and
In the group chat, I just sent a picture. In the bottom left, you'll see like the camera icon with the line through it. You
Yeah.
should be able to click on that and say show video.
Mhm.
mine doesn't have that.
Doesn't have that. Are you on your phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me go out and try to come back in.
Okay. All right.
IT rule number 1, turn it off and then turn it back on again.
Mhm.
But Scott, I absolutely loved your portrayal of your character in the movie.
Well, thank you very much. I loved playing him.
Oh my God. From the first moment I saw you in that bar, I was like, something's off. I knew something was off. And it's just like I was telling Jason, there is no character, not used for the story. There's no plot armor here.
Yeah.
It's all story and everything is relevant. And even just like I was, we were talking about in chat earlier, Jason, is the actual just fact of like, I was rewatching it and I was like, God, I hope that dog isn't in the cult. There you are. But I was really hoping like,
now there's options at the bottom.
There we are. But I was really hoping like, I really hope that dog isn't in the cult. And then you pointed out like, hey, did you see the dog later? And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it's super subtle. Like I said, I don't think anybody will notice it or see it. But yeah, dogs in the stew.
The stew was that was a nice touch, and I mean, it was a subtle nod to something that has just a very dark humor, just dark humor subtlety into it, which I really love. Getting my co-host on here as soon as he can, and Alivea, if you're having problems, there should be an audio button and a video button that you should be able to click or unclick to get you set. And here is my co-host, Frank Percy. He was a inker for Marvel. He did Punisher War Journals. He's worked for DC, Dark Horse, Image. He has his own comic, Caribe the Hunted, which I'm going to try to help him get out 2025, because he actually let me write the backstory for the comic. So I get the annual. There he is.
Hey.
And my co-host
hello,
for
guys.
over a year. We can't hear you, but we can now see you, Alivea. Right. We can hear you, Frank.
Oh.
There you are.
Get my lips together.
You're just kind of sideways.
Oh.
There you are. Hey.
Problem. I had the same problem. We're right there with you.
My life is not together, but when is it ever? It's not.
Alivea, are you able to turn your phone horizontal?
Oh, okay. Jeez, you're asking so much of me.
Sorry.
Look, it took me a whole year to get Frank horizontal, okay?
There we go.
No dirty innuendo in there. It just took this long to get all full screen.
Just with my icon on there,
That's awesome.
Bye.